Hey, what's up guys, another video here. So today I want to talk about how not to compare yourself to others. So don't compare yourself to others. The first point I want to make is that the true measure of wealth is not necessarily displayed externally, and many times you can be the wealthiest person in the room and no one will realize this. So the way you compute your net worth is you combine your tangible assets and your intangible assets. And many people, including myself, their net worth is tied largely with stocks and other type of equity in company. So you can't necessarily see or touch it. However, your net worth is still comprised of these appreciating assets. And many times people will purchase assets that depreciate greatly in value, and it doesn't necessarily display their intelligence or their mindfulness of buying appreciating assets. So that's why it's not a good indicator of wealth. And let me give you examples with Bezos, Gates, and Buffett. So they aren't necessarily buying very expensive fancy clothing or expensive cars, so they aren't displaying their wealth externally. However, they're the three richest men in the world. And the second point is you won't know the source of their wealth, so it can be either inherited or self-made. So obviously, I don't respect inherited wealth as much as self-made wealth, because inherited wealth, that person, the recipient, won't respect how the money was made, and they won't appreciate how hard it is to earn the money. So again, inherited wealth is nothing to really respect. So however, if you have someone that's self-made and they had to have a lot of moves, you have to use intelligence and have to use strategy and risk taking, that person is much more admirable than someone who just inherited their wealth. Because if you inherit wealth, you're going to be very entitled and you won't realize the value of the money, and you will never appreciate the money as much as someone who has self-made wealth. So from that standpoint, you shouldn't envy anyone based on their wealth, because you don't know if it's inherited or self-made. So again, just to recap, don't respect someone that has inherited wealth. They may have their own wealth, but if they're not doing anything with their lives, then definitely don't respect that money from that standpoint. However, a self-made man is much more respectable and much more admirable. So the third point is, if you have achieved time freedom and you can buy anything you want, you know you made it. And people who may have resources, they may have to sacrifice many hours per week just to sustain their lifestyle. So from that standpoint, they're still trapped in this materialistic world and game where they can not support their lifestyle. They can't sustain their lifestyle unless they work. So they're robbing themselves from any type of time freedom because they have to maintain their lifestyle in that way. So consider yourself at a higher state of being, or however you call it, a higher state of mindfulness, if you have time freedom and you have the ability to purchase anything you want. So the time freedom is quite crucial for your happiness. And if you're maintaining your lifestyle with something that you hate and you have to spend many hours on, then that's not really true freedom from the world of materialism. So just to recap here, number one, the true measure of wealth is not necessarily displayed externally. Many times you can be the wealthiest person in the room and no one will realize this. The second point is, you don't know the true source of wealth. It can be either inherited or self-made. Of course, the self-made person is much more admirable and respectable. And the third point is, if you've achieved time freedom and you can have the ability to buy anything you want, you know you have made it. And don't compare yourself to the person who may have a lot of flashy things, but they have to work many hours to maintain their lifestyle. So that's it, guys, and stay tuned for the next video.